is Friday, February 26. Welcome to CGN News. CARICOM leaders have called on Haitian President Jovenel Moïse to hold elections, quote, as soon as possible, end quote, in keeping with the Constitution. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, at a virtual meeting of regional leaders, said that they had received a report from President Moïse. As a result, CARICOM will proceed with its own report on the situation in Haiti. Earlier this month, Haitian officials said they foiled an attempt to overthrow Moïse, who the opposition say is remaining in office beyond his 5-year mandate. Moïse says his term ends on February 7, 2022, an interpretation of the country's constitution that has been rejected by the opposition. Another alleged security flaw associated with the JamCOVID application has reportedly been uncovered. The website is now down for maintenance. U.S. journalist Zach Whitaker of TechCrunch revealed last night that he had informed Amber Group of a third JamCOVID security lapse. The Gleaner reported that this involves more than 500,000 exposed quarantine orders for travelers to Jamaica. The Office of the Prime Minister OPM says it will be moving the JamCOVID-19 database following reports of vulnerabilities detected in the storage of personal data. In a news release Thursday, it said while the investigation into the weakness continues, it is accelerating plans already underway to migrate the database. The OPM said the JamCOVID application continues to be a critical element of Jamaica's controlled entry program. A multinational research team is claiming to have made a major breakthrough by using menthol crystals to stop the deadly spread of the coronavirus. The team comprises medical doctors and dentists from the Caribbean, the United States, and Cameroon. According to the team, they have positively identified that menthol crystals block the virus that causes COVID-19. Their finding dates back to as early as April to May 2020. However, the release was delayed as they awaited validation. Based on this finding, Daniel Ogonsalu, a UE Mona student, has developed a self-assembled device comprising a face shield attached to eyeglasses with a slot for a menthol pack. Overseas now, the United States launched airstrikes on Syria on Thursday, targeting facilities near the Iraqi border used by Iranian-backed militia groups. The Pentagon said the strikes were retaliation for a rocket attack in Iraq earlier this month that killed one civilian contractor and wounded a U.S. service member and other coalition troops. The airstrike was the first military action undertaken by the Biden administration. Biden's decision to attack in Syria did not appear to signal an intention to widen U.S. military involvement in the region, but rather to demonstrate a will to defend U.S. troops in Iraq. Parts of Brazil's Amazon rainforest are being illegally sold on Facebook, the BBC has discovered. The protected areas include national forests and land reserved for indigenous peoples. Some of the plots listed via Facebook's classified ad service are as large as 1,000 football pitches. Facebook said it was ready to work with local authorities, but indicated it would not take independent action of its own to halt the trade. The controversial Equity Act passed the House of Representatives Thursday with full Democratic support, but with only 3 Republicans signing on. The bill enshrines LGBTQ protection in the nation's labor and civil rights laws, a top priority for President Joe Biden. Nearly all House Republicans said the bill infringed on their religious freedom and voted against it. The Heritage Foundation think tank said the act, quote, would make beliefs about marriage, biological facts about sex differences, and many sincerely held beliefs punishable under the law, end quote. It also argued the bill would give transgender athletes, quote, an obvious unfair advantage, end quote, by permitting them to compete in sports against women. A former U.S. Olympics gymnastics coach has killed himself hours after he was charged with sexual assault and human trafficking, officials say. The office of Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel confirmed the death of John Geddert on Thursday afternoon. In the morning, Nestle had outlined 24 felony charges facing Geddert. Geddert was head of the women's gymnastics team in 2012 and worked closely with team doctor Larry Nassar, who abused hundreds of athletes. He was expected to turn himself in on Thursday afternoon, but did not appear, the Attorney General's office said. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to ship surplus coronavirus vaccines to allied nations was frozen on Thursday following a legal challenge to the deal, his office said. It raised questions about Netanyahu's decision-making authority and his move to help Africa and Latin America when Palestinian territories are struggling to secure their own vaccine supplies. The plan had also illustrated how, at a time of global shortages, the vaccine had become an asset that can be used for diplomatic gain. Netanyahu announced his decision Wednesday to share surplus vaccines with allied nations. He did not identify the countries. And finally, is it Mr. Potato Head or not? Mr. Potato Head creators Hasbro created confusion Thursday when it announced that it would drop the Mr. from the brand's name in order to be more inclusive. But in a tweet later that afternoon, Hasbro clarified that although the brand is changing, the Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head characters will still live on and be sold in stores. In a picture posted on Twitter, the Mr. and Mrs. names are less prominently displayed. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere, said Hasbro, and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, the company tweeted. The tweet came after news of the brand name change exploded on Twitter, with people asking if Barbie will change her name next. Quote, "I think Hasbro needs to drop the bro and just be Has," end quote, another person tweeted. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.